Hello ladies and gentlemen, Tevaron here and welcome to some more Magic Arena gameplay. Today we're going to be trying out our first deck with Dominaria in it, and one thing that I've learned after our pack opening and crafting cards is your mythics and rares and things, wild cards, go very quickly when you're building a constructed deck, so yeah. Anyway, today we're going to be running a blue-white historic-centric deck. This is based on some of the lists that have put up 5-0 results on Magic Online that have been published on MTG Goldfish. One thing that is very different with our list than those is we don't have Kaladesh, so we can't run any Walking Ballista or Torrential Gearhulk, so we're just having to make substitutions for those. But this is sort of a mid-range tempo-y deck. It's not really control, though it can be controlling. I will have a link in the description below to the deck list if you would like to check it out for yourself, but we're going to go through it right now quickly. We are running 4 Seal Away as one of the best white removal spells in Standard now. For 1 and a white, we have an enchantment with Flash, so it can be played anytime we could cast an instant. When it enters the battlefield, we can exile target tapped creature an opponent controls until Seal Away leaves the battlefield. Very cheap, very good removal. We are running a Singleton Blink of an Eye. This is a functional reprint of Into the Royal. It's exactly the same except for the name. For 1 and a blue, we have an instant, return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. If we kick it for an additional 1 and a blue, then we can draw a card. We're running 4 Merfolk Trickster, 2 blue for a 2/2 with Flash. When Merfolk Trickster enters the battlefield, tap target creature an opponent controls. It loses all abilities until end of turn. We're running 1 Gideon of the Trials, a 1 and 2 white Planeswalker that enters with 3 loyalty. Its +1 is until our next turn, prevent all damage target permanent would deal. 0 until end of turn, Gideon of the Trials becomes a 4/4 human soldier creature with indestructible. That's still a Planeswalker. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to him this turn. And his pseudo ultimate is 0 also. You get an emblem with as long as you control a Gideon Planeswalker, you can't lose the game and your opponents can't win the game. Next up is a playset of History of Benalia, a saga from Dominaria, 2 white and a colorless. When it enters play, and then at the beginning of each of your main phases, I keep wanting to move my mouse over to point at the chapters, but anyway, you execute one of the chapters. The first and second ones are create a 2/2 white knight creature token with vigilance, and then the third one is knight you control get +2/+1 until end of turn, and then the saga goes away. Next up is a playset of Wizard's Retort. For 2 blue and a colorless, we have an instant that counters a spell, or if we have a wizard, then it only costs 2 blue, and we do have some wizards in the deck, the first of which was Merfolk Trickster. We're running a Singleton Cast Out as an additional removal spell, 3 and a white Flash. When it enters the battlefield, we can exile a non-land permanent until it leaves the battlefield. We can also cycle it for a white if we don't need it. We're running 3 Settle the Wreckage. For 2 and 2 white, we have an instant, exile all attacking creatures target player controls. That player may search their library for that many basic land cards, put those cards onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle their library. This is very important in this deck, as it's a one-sided board wipe, and we are generally depending on our creatures to win the game too, so it's nice to not get rid of those at the same time. 2 Commit to Memory. The commit side is what you cast from your hand. For 3 and a blue, we have an instant, put target spell or non-land permanent into its owner's library, second from the top. And then Memory as the aftermath we can cast from the graveyard. For 4 and 2 blue, each player shuffles their hand and graveyard into their library, then draws 7 cards, so it's a 6-mana time twister. Next up is for Wrath Capashen, or Capation, I don't know what's the proper pronunciation, Ship's Mage. For 2, a white and a blue, we have a 3/3 with Flash and Flying. It is legendary, so we need to not really cast 2 at the same time if we can help it. And we may cast all our other historic spells as though they had Flash. So all legends, artifacts, and sagas can now be cast with Flash as long as Wrath is in play. Speaking of legends, we're running for Lyra Dawnbringer. 3 and 2 white for a 5/5 legendary angel with flying, first strike, and lifelink, and other angels we control get +1/+1 and have lifelink. That part of it doesn't matter. The pumping of other angels, we will make no use whatsoever of that, but very excited to be playing with Baneslayer Angel again. We're running 2 Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. For 3, a white and a blue, we have a 4 loyalty Planeswalker. His +1 is draw a card. At the beginning of the next end step, untap 2 lands. His -3 is put target non-land permanent into its owner's library, third from the top. And his -8 ultimate is you get an emblem with whenever you draw a card, exile target permanent an opponent controls. Very versatile Planeswalker. That is it for the non-land cards in the deck. Our mana base is 7 plains, 2 Ipnu Rivulet, 6 islands, 1 Memorial to Genius, which we can in late game sacrifice to draw 2 cards, 4 Glacial Fortress, 4 Irrigated Farmland, and 2 Scavenger Grounds to get rid of pesky graveyard shenanigans. That is the deck list. Let's play a few games. There are different modes now. We can continue to play Ranked Constructed for free and get gold rewards, but there's also Quick Constructed, which I'm pretty sure charges you either a gem or gold entry fee and then gives better prizes, but we're just going to be going for the Ranked Constructed today. Also, as you saw the countdown timer there are going to be drafts coming up in the near future. Alright. This is not the greatest hand, but we do have some early interaction, so I think we're going to keep it. We would rather have some of our early aggression in our hands if we could help it, but we don't, so we'll make do. History of Benalia on turn 3 is very strong. I think we'll go with Glacial Fortress just so we can seal away if the opponent has a hasty threat. And we may just cycle this Irrigated Farmland. We do have 2 more land drops besides it in our hand if we don't have a target for seal away here. Looks like we're up against mono red. Earthshaker will definitely be sealing that away. Yep, come on, opponent. Let's get rid of that. Merfolk Trickster is a good draw too. I do think we're on the cycle Irrigated Farmland plan, so we'll hold that in our hand. Yep, on-crop Crasher, sure. We're going to flash in our Trickster and trade with that. Its tap and strip of abilities doesn't really matter at this point, in this matchup anyway. Lyra Dawnbringer kind of changes my mind. I think we want to cast her for sure next turn, so we're going to go Irrigated Farmland this turn instead of cycling. Alright, there is Hazoret. Opponent's hand is full, they can't really attack with it. So let's take this moment to establish our Dawnbringer, whose lifelink, first strike, and basically all abilities are super relevant against red. Soulscar Mage, so are they going to shrink our Lyra? They are. Well, that's a little sad. Oh, they're going to kill her. Okay, well, not much I can do about that. We're going to take 5. They managed to empty their hand. We have Settle the Wreckage, so we'll be holding that up this turn. Hopefully they'll swing in. If they don't, we'll probably commit Hazoret back into their deck. Yep, Fanatical Firebrand. Opponent seems to be weighing the odds that we have a Settle the Wreckage. Just happens to be 100%. Yep, attackers. Just going with those, huh? Well, we'll settle those. We have commit for Hazoret, so we'll probably be doing that next turn. Or we could Teferi and just tuck her in with his minus ability. just depending on what they present to us here. Worth it to note that the targeting rules for Planeswalkers has changed. They cannot use Hazoret pitch ability to damage Teferi anymore. They have to have something that targets a Planeswalker directly. So yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to Teferi and tuck Hazoret.
Trust me, you'll thank me later.
Put it in there third from the top. Lightning strike, so they're going to kill Teferi with that. Didn't go to our face though, so that's a good deal for us. There's a firebrand. So now we need to draw some action. That is not really action. Commit. Think we're just going to pass the turn. We've got Wizard's Retort for Hazoret when she comes back. We'll take one for a bit here. My turn. There's another Wizard's Retort. Okay. We are in control mode this game. Yep. Counter that. Getting down kind of low here. Of course, opponent's in top deck mode, so I think we're potentially okay. Merfolk Trickster's a great draw. So we'll be planning to flash that in and try to block. Yeah, let's do that. Also, it's a wizard, so now our retort is cheaper. No, thank you. I would not like you to get extra cards. And opponents had enough. Alright, this hand seems fine. We do need a second blue at some point. But we've got Seal Away into Wrath, and then if he lives, we can play Lyra at instant speed, another red deck, okay? Hopefully we're as successful versus this one as we were versus the last one. Looks like they have gotten off to a better start, though. Yeah, Earthshaker Kenra. So, Seal Away into History is going to be very important for us. Double History may be real good. Guess we'll find out. Planning to seal away something for sure this turn. And it's going to be the Crasher. Yep, let's get that off the battlefield. Try to preserve our life total here, also so it can't exert on our knight that we're going to cast next turn. We need a fourth land, and a fifth land actually, pretty badly. Otherwise, we may just get run over here. Okay, they got a Magma Spray. Down to 2 cards, so Hazoret can potentially be online next turn if they have it. Going to 9. Going to really need this life gain from Lyra. Please give us some lands deck. Alright, we'll take that for sure. Especially since we've got a 3-drop to go ahead and play this turn. Let's get you out. We definitely don't want to cycle you. No, thank you. Alright, double knights. More burn coming. Yeah, Magma Spray. Okay, so got another card out of their hand. Would very, very much like to draw an untapped land next turn. Alright, open fire. They have got all of the removal, apparently. Down to 6. There we go. That is super important for us. Hopefully they don't have an answer to Lyra. We can't afford to delay and play Wrath so that we can cast her at instant speed at this point. If we had hit our land drops on time, we could have done that, but we didn't, so... And that's all she wrote. Alright, I think we're playing someone we've already played again here. We're going to keep this. We've got turn 2 Seal Away. We've got a Blink of an Eye rather, for bounce. We got Settle the Wreckage, Wrath. Again, we do need to draw another land. I think this is pretty good though, overall. Right, lead off with the farmland, which counts as a plain and an island so that we can play our Glacial Fortress untapped. Alright, yeah. Does indeed look like this is the same person. I can't remember if it was last game that we played them or the first game, but I think I recognize that name. And they have had enough. Okay then. Sorry about that. Hopefully we won't get paired against the same person again. Alright, so we've got a different opponent this time. Awesome. This is an okay hand. It's a little top heavy, but I think we still keep it. We've got early interaction. Hopefully we'll draw some of our 2 and 3 cost spells before we have to be playing out Teferi or Lyra. Since we have no 1-drops, we'll just play our Glacial Fortress first tapped. Give us a little more flexibility on the second turn in case we top deck a Merfolk Trickster. Then we could play New Rivulet and still be able to cast it. We didn't. We got a Wizard's Retort. That's a decent draw there. Go ahead with Plains this turn and pass. Opponent showing blue-black. Alright, search for Azcanta. That is unfortunate for us. That could grind us out of the game. Definitely go with the Rivulet so that we have Wizard's Retort online. There is the flip side of that if you're unfamiliar with it. Alright, looks like opponent is controlling, which with this hand is maybe a bad thing for us. We do have a Scavenger Grounds though, so that we can hopefully combat a Scarab God if it lands. Okay, opponent milling a Golden Demise. That's actually decent versus us, but they don't know that. They think we're on control at present. Alright, let's flash in this Merfolk. Gonna have to pay a life. I think that's fine. Hopefully they don't have a removal spell for it. Would love to untap with Wizard's Retort if I could stop tripping over myself, costing 2 instead of 3. Alright, opponent lets it resolve. Is it going to live or is it going to die? It's going to live. Awesome. So let's go to combat. And attack. Alright, we get in there. So we could drop Teferi, hoping to +1 him and then have Wizard's Retort up because he untaps 2 lands. But the thing is, I think he's going to get counterspelled if we try to cast him now. So I am just going to pass. Hopefully we can counter something that the opponent tries to do and then have an opening for Teferi. Going to cast down after the damage. Yeah, I think we just let that happen. Yep. Search. Please try to cast something expensive this turn, opponent. Or at least moderately expensive. Tap yourself low. Looks like that's not going to happen. Alright, well at least we're making our land drops. I still don't think we expose ourselves to counter magic here. I think we're content to just let the game go like this. If we can draw a Wrath Capuchin, we can start doing our stuff at the end of our opponent's turn. Right, Arch of Orozca. They're still a bit off of getting the city's blessing. Okay. So we've got 3 lyras. I don't think we can just sit here and wait this out forever now. I think we're going to start chaining off these lyra Dawnbringers, just seeing what happens. First one's almost certainly going to die. Vraska's Contempt or some similar something. Yeah, there's the Contempt. So, milled a Supreme Will, which further strengthens my feeling that they have a counterspell in hand. Alright, Liliana.
Good news, everyone.
Mm-hmm.
I've arrived.
Yeah, good news for us, too, because now we can resolve our own Planeswalker and leave up Wizard's Retort. So let's do that. Let's see. Yeah, that's fine. So let's plus you.
Stand by and watch. Hurry!
See what we draw. History of Benalia, that is good. So going to go to our end step and untap 2 lands. Alright, cycling there. Sure. Still kind of touch and go. We'll untap the Fortress and a Scavenger Ground, I suppose. And they can flip their search this turn. They have 8 cards in their graveyard. They're also 1 permanent off of having the city's blessing for Arch. Yeah, making another zombie.
Servitude. Think of it as partnership.
Alright, so we're going to let Teferi get hit here because I don't want to lower our shields on Wizard's Retort. We could seal away, but that would tap us low enough that we couldn't cast this. Go to my turn. Alright, land is fine. We definitely want to plus, so let's draw a card.
No time for a break.
Second Wizard's Retort, okay. Alright, so we're going to play out History. See what our opponent's got in their graveyard. They've got a Scarab God. We may want to pop Scavenger Grounds if they try to reanimate that with Liliana. Okay, so we got that. I think we're just going to pass now. Try to end the turn here. Okay, activating Azcanta. Luckily we get to see what that gives them, so we need to be aware of what they put in their hand here. Essence Scatter, okay. Counterspell for a creature. Let's untap Scavenger Grounds and Plains. They could ultimate Lily right now, which actually I wouldn't mind at all. It would kill 1 knight. If we can keep Teferi at a decently high loyalty through this turn, we may just tuck Lily next turn. Golden Demise. Sure. So we're not going to be able to do what I was saying there. Alright, we are going to cast Seal Away. Try to keep our Planeswalker alive. Grab one of those zombies. Yep, making another zombie.
Death is ever present.
Put another Golden Demise in the yard. Go to end of turn. We really don't have anything here, so we'll go to our turn. Trickster's okay. I think we're just going to continue to draw.
You know what? I'm not done yet.
It's good to know. So one thing about Teferi is we need to tap our lands even if we don't cast anything, because we have to untap 2 lands, and they've got it programmed into the game that I can't choose my own lands if they're untapped, so we'd have to untap the opponent's. We're a little short on blue mana at present, unfortunately. What we're going to do is try to cast Lyra. And they have the Essence Scatter for it, but we can try to retort it if we want to. Yeah, we're going to try to Wizard's Retort it. And they could have another counter in hand too. We've suspected that they've had another counter all this time, which I may be wrong. We need to try to run them out of resources. Yeah, there's Syncopate. Yeah, we can't pay that. Alright, go to our end step here. We'll untap these 2 so that we have Merfolk Trickster available. There we go. End turn. Yeah, making more zombies.
Another minion never
That
hurt.
would have been a good opportunity for them to try to reanimate a Scarab God or something, since we had our Scavenger Grounds tapped down. Yep, that's a Chupacabra. So now we're in the weird position against blue-black that we want to draw a Settle the Wreckage. Let's go to combat. Before attackers, we're going to try to flash in the Trickster. Alright, another counter from the opponent. We can't pay that. So we're going to be losing our Teferi, unfortunately. Also, unfortunately, Lily's at the point that she can ultimate and kill all non-zombie creatures. Yeah, history not doing much at that point. I think we're going to go for the other history. Don't want to cast Lyra out and have her just get killed with Liliana's ultimate. Though that might be okay if we can get them to pop it. We'll take her back down to 2. They won't make a zombie this turn. No, we're just going to pass. Yeah, we have not had our stuff line up very well this game. really need some of our gas.
Oh, look what I found.
They are milling themselves rather quickly if we can manage to stay alive long enough to have them deck themselves. Don't know how feasible that is. Let's block the Chupacabra. Actually, let's block a zombie, since it is not a zombie, so if they end up ultimating Lily at some point, it will kill their Chupacabra too. There's Raph. That could help, maybe, depending on what's in their hands. They also have a Champion of Wits in their graveyard. I think we're going to pop our Scavenger Grounds. I don't want them to flash that back. They've also got 2 Scarab Gods in here, and that's probably all they're running. Yeah, let's do that. Sacrifice the... Actually, cancel. Tap this. Now, sacrifice the Rivulet. And we will end our turn. If we had passed over to their turn and they tried to cast that Champion of Wits, we couldn't have stopped them because exiling it is part of the cost. So even if we'd popped our Scavenger Grounds, they still would have gotten it. Yep, more zombies.
The dead are low.
They're definitely out card valuing us between Liliana and Search for Azcanta. We're going to try to flash this in and block. I don't have a lot of confidence that it's going to work. Can we go to blocks, opponent? Apparently we can. Awesome. Let's block some zombies. Alright, moment of craving. So still blocked, but our mage is dead, unfortunately. They are actually 1 damage off of killing us next turn. This history is not going to be able to produce anything here. Got Gideon that we can play out and prevent some damage while still holding up some counterspells. I think we're going to do that. Or try to, anyway. I don't see us winning this game. We're just very far behind at this point.
If it's a fight you want, then a fight you'll get.
We'll prevent damage from Chupacabra, I guess.
That's enough.
And end the turn. See, we haven't seen our cast out yet, so we could still draw that to deal with Liliana potentially. We're at 38 cards, they're at 21. They have gone through a whole lot more of their deck. Of course, a lot of that was it being milled and making zombies, but still. So they missed with Azcanta there. Either didn't want what was presented or wasn't presented with something they could take. What are you targeting? Chupacabra? Sure. I don't care if you bring that back. I think they were trying to get me to tap out so I couldn't counterspell something more significant? Maybe? We're kind of in a rough situation here, especially since we haven't seen any of our settle the wreckages yet. Yeah, goodbye to Gideon. Fog dust for 8.
How do you feel about a rematch?
Alright, go to my turn. And they're showing lethal on board. So our one out is to Lyra and Hope, which they can just ultimate Lily and kill her anyway, so just wishful thinking at this point. Syncopate for a lot. I'll try to retort it. None of this matters. They've got Lily on ultimate there. Even if Lyra resolves, they'll just ultimate her and then kill us. Our hope at this point is that they don't have a removal spell in hand and don't think to do that. Nope, they do. Alright. Good game, opponent. Alright. So this hand is a little slow, but again, I don't think it's one that we can really throw back. Our last game was rather long, so I think that this one, either which way, is going to be our last match of this video. Let's hope that we can pull it out. We'll go ahead and start off with the Glacial Fortress. We don't have any 1-drops. Again, gives us a little bit more flexibility as we go forward. We needed that 4th land, so that's good. Looks like we're against maybe Vamps. And they've gotten a slow start, so our slow start is not appearing to punish us a ton. Yeah, there's a Legion Lieutenant. Let's hope they don't have a second Legion Lieutenant. We are going to try to ambush this thing. Should have a moment of craving, but they don't. Awesome. Very good for us. Call to the feast. Yep. Not super worried about that. Think we will attack. Planning to flash in Lyra to eat one of these. Radiant Destiny, sure. Let's execute our ambuscade. And that's all it took. Alrighty then. Alright, well, the link to this deck list that we ran today will be in the description below if you'd like to check that out for yourself. I also had a video go up earlier opening a ton of Dominaria packs, somewhere in excess of 90, I think, that we popped, so if you'd like to check that out, I will have the link in the description to that as well. But as for this episode, I think that will do it for us. Thank you so much for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, let me know in the comments and by leaving a like below. It really does help tremendously. And of course, subscribe if you'd like to see more in the future. I have been Tevaron, and until next time, friends, be excellent to each other.